What's up, Valentines? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Sophia and this is my channel, Sophia Sees Beauty, where we talk about all things beauty and makeup. Today, I'm in a very great mood, a little Valentine's mood, because I'm gonna be reviewing for you guys the new NATASHA DENONA Mini Crush palette. This is the latest in her series of mini palettes. I'm gonna be doing a full review for you guys, swatches as usual, a demo as usual, and lots of comparisons to the rest of her Love collection. So if you guys are thinking about picking up this palette or you just want to hear my thoughts, keep watching. Before we get started today, if you are new here, please consider subscribing to my channel. I'm a luxury beauty YouTuber and Instagrammer, and I upload content every single week on all of the new luxury beauty releases. So if that is something that you enjoy watching, please consider hitting the subscribe button and hitting the notification bell to hear about every time I post a new video. And also please consider giving this video a thumbs up. It really helps me out with the YouTube algorithm and lets me know what kind of content you guys enjoy on my channel. I'm gonna link everything that I mentioned in this video, everything on my face, etc., in the description box down below. Just giving you guys a heads up, some of those links may be affiliate links, so if you guys are interested in supporting my channel, shopping through those links is a really great way to do so. It costs you absolutely nothing to shop through my links, but I get a very small commission, and I take all of that and I invest it back into this channel to make wonderful reviews like this for you guys. So please consider shopping through my links. And with that, let's get into the product details. All right, friends, let's talk about this new mini palette from NATASHA DENONA. If you guys are familiar with NATASHA DENONA, she has a fantastic eyeshadow formula and she releases palettes in a couple of different sizes. This one is very popular with many different types of consumers, and it's a really great gateway product for the NATASHA DENONA brand are these little mini palettes. I have most of them, so I can sort of give you guys a really good opinion on my thoughts on this particular one. And these usually retail for $25, which is the case for this one as well. But what NATASHA has done is that she has actually packaged this up in kind of a little, I guess you would call this as like a really nice little gift, like a little Valentine's gift. She did this with the Mini Metropolis palette during the holidays, and I guess it performed really well. So they did the same for Valentine's Day. So you're getting both this palette and then a little brush alongside with it. So this makes a lovely little gift for your Valentine, or maybe your sister, your mom, your daughter, whomever. So I think that that is really cute. While I don't need the brush, that's okay. It's a gift to myself. It's a gift to myself, guys. I have a Valentine, but we are each our own Valentines as well. So you gotta treat yourself. So this Mini Crush palette is inspired by the OG Love palette from NATASHA DENONA. This is it right here. This is one of my favorite palettes from her brand. This is in the midi size. These typically go for about $60 to $65, and it's a really great palette. I'm gonna be doing some comparisons of this and the new palette a little bit later in the comparison section of this video. This palette is available from the NATASHA DENONA website, but I actually recommend getting it from Sephora. Every time I try and order from the NATASHA DENONA website, the shipping for this teeny little palette is basically the same amount as the palette. I think it was $20 for standard shipping for me. And I live in the US, and I don't know what's going on with that, but I just got this from Sephora the day that it launched. I got free shipping because I have Rouge, so I recommend checking this out at Sephora, and I will link it down below on both retailers so you guys can choose what is best for you. I'm gonna read a little bit about this palette from the Sephora website while we look at some close-ups of the product. This limited edition Mini Crush eyeshadow palette is based on the Midi size Love palette. The shades in this palette are made with the highest quality, pure color pigments, chroma crystals, and mineral pearls for maximum color payoff with minimal effort. The blender brush features an innovative synthetic fiber that delivers a feather soft feel. And I will get into this in the swatch section of this video, but essentially 4 out of the 5 shades here are repeats from her other palettes. The only one that is not a repeat supposedly is this one in the middle, which is called Koi. Some people have said that this looks really similar to another shade in the Safari palette, but I'm just telling you what NATASHA DENONA is telling us in her marketing. So 4 of these are repeat shades, and I'll share my thoughts on that a little bit later, but spoiler alert, it doesn't really bother me because a lot of these shades are from kind of other random palettes that I would never put together. But I do want to mention it because I know some people get a little bit peeved when we see repeats. Now that we know a little bit more about this palette, let's go dive into the swatches and our demo. Okay, party people, let's swatch this adorable little palette. I want to show you guys real quick the packaging here. I like to do this just in case packaging matters for you guys, and also because I think this particular product is really marketed almost as like a gift, even if it's a gift to yourself. Like, this is pretty much gift packaging, and I think it's really cute. I think this would be an amazing little gift to give, you know, your sister, your friend, or your mom, or a coworker, or somebody for Valentine's Day. I'm a big fan of Valentine's Day and Galentine's Day. Great Galentine's Day gift. And so here is the little palette. There she is. She is so cute. And here are all of the shades. And also here's the little brush that comes in the palette. It is this really cool, like slightly pink tinted chrome, and it feels like a pretty good quality brush. I'm not gonna be using this in my video today because I just like to go with my OG tried and true brushes when I'm trying something new. But just wanna show you, it does come with this cute little brush. She did this with her Metropolis, Mini Metropolis palette, which came out this past holiday season. So I think this is kind of like a thing for her when she comes out with these mini palettes, because it's because it makes it a little bit more giftable. All right, back to the Mini Crush palette. This is the palette that we have right here. And I'm just gonna kind of read off the shades. This one here is called Daisy, which is from the Cranberry palette. This one is called Lotus, which is from the Safari palette. This is like one of my favorite shades that was in that palette. I love these sort of like dusty mauves. This one is called Koi, which apparently is a new shade, but there's some rumors, don't quote me on this, okay, that this looks a lot like Masai from the Safari palette. So I'm just kind of putting that out there, but technically NATASHA DENONA, they say that this is a new shade. This color is called Soul, and this is actually from the Love palette, the bigger one in the Midi size, which I'll kind of compare a little bit later on in this video. And this one is called Claret, which is from Metropolis, okay? And that palette was discontinued. So we have 4 of these shades that are already existing. This one supposedly is new. For me, that doesn't really bother me. I kind of like that she picked shades that are from basically palettes that like no one would be putting together. Like the Safari palette was very polarizing. The Metropolis palette is discontinued. The Cranberry palette, I don't even think that one was that popular. I don't even know if you can get that palette anymore. Like, she kind of took shades that were really good from all these other random palettes and put them together for us. And for that, I'm not really mad about that. So I just want to kind of give you guys my 2 cents on that. Like, I would never put this together from all of those different palettes. And I do have custom NATASHA DENONA palettes that I myself curated by like popping out the shades and whatnot. If you guys want to see those in a video, let me know. Comment down below like what I created. But I just want to mention 4 of these supposedly are existing, but to me, it doesn't really bother me. All right, now let's swatch these on my hand. First off, we have Daisy, a sparkling bubblegum pink. Oh my God, this is so good. This is definitely one of the standout shades from that Cranberry palette. Like, I don't even remember this shade, but now that she's in the Mini Crush, now we remember her, guys. This next one is Lotus, a matte nude pink. Ooh, I'm all about that. I'm all about that shade. This right here, that could be your look. That could be your look. This next one is called Koi, and it's described as a medium dark burgundy. So that's gonna give you a little bit of depth. Like, this one's your lighter matte, this one's your medium matte, and then next up, we're gonna go in with the darker matte. This next one is called Soul, and it is described as a rosy coral. So we're getting a little bit more of like a rosy tone here, maybe a touch of red. And this last color is called Claret. I just wanna show you how beautiful this is. NATASHA does such a good job with reds. And this is described as a metallic scarlet red. Oh, like these 2 shimmers, these are some of the best. Like, she basically picked what is my best pink, fun, bubbly pink shimmer, put that in the palette, and then what is the best heart-throbbing red, put that in the palette. So I really like this. I'm not quite sure what kind of look I'm gonna do. I feel like most of the time I would take these 2 and do a day look, or I would take, you know, these 2 maybe with this or with that one and create more of a night look. So we'll see what we get from that, but I'm gonna post a close-up right here in daylight of what all of these swatches look like so you can see it a little bit more close up as I usually do. So hopefully these swatches were helpful for you guys. Now let's get into a demo and then we'll cap it off with some comparisons. Finally, let's get this cute little palette on our eyes. Okay, and if you guys are wondering, I'm wearing the Chantecaille Future Skin Foundation today with the Josie Maran Vibrancy Concealer, and I put on a little bit of the Chantecaille Gel Bronzer and just kind of did my brows. I don't have anything on my lips right now, but we'll finish them off at the end of this look. So I will link all of that down below in case you guys want to take a look at those products. You guys know what's up. We're gonna start off with this shade Lotus, and I'm gonna go into the crease with a BK Beauty 201 brush. I just primed my eyes with a little bit of the Milani eye primer, just like, you know, drugstore eye primer. It works great. And BK Beauty just sent me a couple of their brushes. I already have a couple of them, which I love them. And this brush is brand new, so I'm really excited to give this a try. If you guys haven't heard of BK Beauty, they essentially are a synthetic brush brand, very, very luxury synthetic brushes. And I do have a 10% off code that I will put down below for you guys. This isn't sponsored or anything, but they did send me these brushes and they did give me a code in case you guys are interested in that. So I'll put that down there so you guys can save some coin. But this is so soft. Like both the shadow and the brush are making this so nice. And I'm just building a nice little base right there. I'm gonna take this BK Beauty 205 brush. It's like a little slanted kind of blender brush. And I'm gonna go into this shade called Soul on the outer corner. I'm just gonna start to kind of build up some depth on the outer corner. You guys know I'm not a makeup artist, so I'm kind of using this just like how, hopefully how you guys would. And I like this brush because it's angled, so I just put it right here, and all I'm doing is like little windshield wiper motions to kind of get that definition in the outer V. That's why I went with this one, because it is angled. And then it's flexible enough that I can kind of blend it out. I feel like I did a better job on this side. Do you guys ever have one eye that always comes out better than the other? Or like one that like the eyeliner comes out better than the other for some reason? On fair skin tones, these shades are very, very pigmented. So I think for me, it just means I have to blend a little bit more around the edges at the end. So we're gonna kind of build up the colors, and then at the end, I'll kind of go in and we'll seamlessly blend everything. And I think that this shade right here, Lotus, is really good for that. I'm gonna start building up some shimmer. So I'm just gonna put this shade Daisy all over the lid, and I'm using the BK Beauty shader brush. This is the number 203. It's just your classic shader brush. Let's see how that looks. Oh, yes, okay. Yes. Ooh, yay, pinks and reds. This has to be one of the prettiest pink shadows that I have in my collection. Like, I just like the fact that it is so sparkly. I know I've been saying this with a lot of products, especially the pink ones, but it does remind me of the early 2000s. Like, it just reminds me of being youthful and playing with sparkly shadows. And of course I always had, everything was like pink and light brown, but I love how bubbly this is. That is so pretty. That's so pretty. Oh my gosh, I love it. All right, what do we want to do next? I'm going to take my Sonia G Crease 1 and I'm going to dip into Koi, this dark purple here. I'm being very careful because these shades are described as medium, but on my skin tone, they're pretty dark shades. So all that means is that I have to have kind of a lighter hand when applying them. This looks bad at first, but then once I get it blended out, it starts to look good. Trust me, guys, I know what I'm doing. And I'm blending all this out with a BK Beauty 202. This is just a slightly smaller and more like precise crease brush, so I can really get in there and blend everything out. I think that's looking really pretty. I like it with my purple, my lilac sweater today. It's very cold, so I couldn't put on like some fancy little blouse for you guys to put on my sweater. It's so cold. Just going in with that Lotus shade, and I'm blending around the edges. I am now gonna take Soul on the lower lash line with a Rever number 3. Just kind of bringing this all together. I'm taking Lotus into the inner corner. Just putting that on the lower lash line here. I'm also putting a little bit of Daisy here in the inner corner as well because I literally can't get enough of Daisy. This is so beautiful. I don't think I have the Cranberry palette, so I don't think that I have this shade. Okay guys, this is the look so far. I'm gonna go put on some eyeliner and mascara and then I'll be right back. I'm back. Okay guys, this is the final look. So what I did is I put on the NATASHA DENONA liquid liner. I'm wearing the Chantecaille mascara. And then I did Pat McGrath's lip liner in Bare Rose. And then I have this Chanel Rouge Cocoa Gloss in the shade 728. It's like this beautiful sparkly pink that I thought went well with this look. And so I do want to call out the only shade in the palette that I did not use is this one, Claret. I really like this shade. I like this shade from the Metropolis palette, but my thoughts here are that basically, if I were to do a look using this palette, I probably would not have used this shade, and so I decided not to use it. I think that in general, like I would either use these 3 shades or these 4 shades like we just did, or I would go for a much more red look incorporating Claret. Like I don't think this shade and this shade necessarily go well together in a look, at least for me, that's not my style. I would pair these 2 together. So maybe I'll do a get ready with me on my Instagram. If you guys are interested in that and you want to see me use these 2 shades, definitely let me know. But I want to call that out and just kind of note that in terms of, you know, my thoughts about this palette and the color story. I hope that you guys enjoyed that demo. Now let's get into some comparisons with the other NATASHA DENONA Love Collection products. Let's get into some comparisons. So here I have the Mini Crush, which we just put on our eyes, which I just put on my eyes. And then this is the Mini Love palette. So this is the one that came out last year. The packaging is, you know, same, but different. And I just want to show you guys the major differences between these. So here are the major differences between these. It seems like the Mini Love, it just has a larger array of tones. And what I mean by that is like you have a lighter matte and a very deep matte. You also have this really light highlight shade right here, which I very much enjoy. I appreciate that for really brightening up the look. I would say the equivalent in the Mini Crush is that bright pink Daisy shade, which I have all over my lids right now, but they are very different in tone. And then here you get a pink sort of mid-tone color right there, which is very different from Daisy. Daisy is a bubbly, sparkling, like Britney Spears kind of pink, and this is very much more of like a rosy toned pink. And then you also have this shade, which is more of a, I guess you could call this a duochrome. Let's make some room right here. This is a bit more of a duochrome. So this is a very, very special shade within the Mini Love palette. So I don't think one of these palettes is necessarily better than the other. I think what you need to ask yourself is, do I want a really bright shimmery shade? Do I want a really deep dark shade? Am I going to use this? And like, do I prefer more purples and roses, or do I prefer a true pink and a true red? Like the Mini Crush is basically like your look is gonna come out very bubbly pink, or it's gonna come out more red, okay? Because those are the 2 shimmers that are in this particular palette. Whereas in the Mini Love, you're getting a bigger array of shimmers. You get the duochrome, this really bright one, and this mid-tone one. So I think you need to take that into account. It really just depends, I think, with these palettes, which shimmers do you prefer? And so I will put a close-up right now in daylight of both of these palettes swatched together so you guys can kind of see the difference in tones. But yeah, I would go based off of the shimmers. If you don't think you're going to use a red like this, I wouldn't get the Mini Crush. if you rather have these kind of mid-tone shades, then the Mini Love is probably going to work better for you. Now let's take a look at the Midi palette, the OG Love palette from Natasha Denona, and this is what it looks like. And I have to tell you guys, this is one of my favorite palettes in my makeup collection in general, because I just feel like she kind of really went for it and gave us something a little bit different, because we have all kinds of pinks in here. We also have purples. We also have reds. And then you have a couple of tones here that really help to bring it all together that you can create multiple looks with. So for instance, you've got this kind of really darker eggplant color. You have this silver tone. You have this blending color. You have this one right here, which is kind of, it's basically a gold, but it has a little bit of a pink tone to it as well. So honestly, guys, if you're really into Valentine's Day and you're really into these kinds of tones, I think this palette is good for all year round. That being said, this palette is $60, so I totally get it if you're like, I don't want to spend that much money on like this kind of color story, but I highly recommend if you're like, which one should I choose between? My final recommendation is always like, I would say get the bigger palette, but I realize that these are kind of marketed towards different people, but I want to just hold this up because I think that these mini palettes, they definitely are not the same as the Midi palettes, but I think that they make really good companion pieces. So you can kind of see right here, none of these shades are really the same, but you can pair these shades with anything from here. This is a nice little like bonus palette, okay? Nice little companion mini to the Midi Love. And so I like that she did that. I like that you can kind of pick and choose and mix and match with both of these. Okay, so I swatched some of the shades between those two palettes that I thought were a bit similar. So here you have the ones from the Mini Crush. I didn't swatch Soul only because we already know that's the same shade. So we already know there's one repeat shade here between the given palettes. And so here are some of the ones from the Love palette, the OG Love palette. These two are the reddest ones in the palette, which I wanted to show you up against Claret. This is Koi. This color is called Heartbeat. So Koi is a little bit more purple. This one's a little bit more red. Here we have Lotus. This color is called Valentine. So it's a lot more of a brighter pink as opposed to this muted pink. And then this is Daisy, and this color is called Giving. This is more of like a duochrome, but they both have that really nice sparkly finish. So there's a lot of similarities here. Again, none of the shades are the same except for that one repeat shade, which is called Soul. But in general, you're getting a lot of the same tones. You're getting a lot of the same finishes. I think you just need to ask yourself, are these shades giving you something a little bit extra? Do you already have maybe the palettes that include these shades? So hopefully this was helpful for you to make an informed decision. And lastly, guys, I wanted to quickly show you the Natasha Denona Retro palette. This is one of her latest palettes that she launched last year. And I want to just show you, I feel like the mattes in this palette match up really well with the ones that are in the retro palette. So if maybe you have the retro palette and you're like, I like this palette, but I kind of wish I had something just to like take it up a notch, like I want something a little bit brighter, then I actually think that this is a really good companion palette to the retro, almost even more so than to the Love palette, because this has this beautiful bright red called Claret, and then it also has Daisy, and then you've got all of these mattes. And so I think that with the Love palette, you're already getting some bright pops of color, but with the retro, that's kind of why a lot of times, sometimes I don't reach for this because I just want something a little bit more fun. And so I think if you have both of these, if you're a lover of like pink and purple and red tones, then this is gonna be a great little companion palette for the Natasha Denona Retro palette. All right, friends, I hope that those comparisons were helpful. Now I'm gonna try and sum up everything in my final thoughts. See you there. It's time, folks, for all of my final thoughts on this Mini Crush palette from Natasha Denona. So what do I think of this? Guys, this is a really cute palette. I know a lot of people were kind of not hating on it, but a lot of folks were like, pass, which I totally get because for people like me and maybe somebody like you, if you're watching my channel, you might already have a lot of Natasha Denona shadows. And if you already have a lot of shadows like this, I don't think that you need this palette, but I personally like this palette. I like to collect Natasha Denona palettes. I really like the mini palettes. They're a little bit more affordable. And these are the types of things that I like to bring with me on the go if I'm traveling, if I'm going home to visit my family or on vacation, etc. And every single year I bring out the Natasha Denona like love collection and I use it nonstop during the month of February, and it just like gets me in that Valentine's mood. I love Valentine's Day, and so I love this kind of color scheme. I love pairing this with all of the blush palettes, which you can still find on the Natasha Denona website last time I checked, even though they're limited edition. So for me, this is definitely worth it. I think that the star of the show here is this Chroma Crystal one, which is called Daisy. That is the one that I put all over my eyes in the demo. And for me, that really makes this palette. I never had the cranberry palette, so I never had access to that shade. And I really like these mattes that she put in here to kind of accompany both of these shades. Now, I know that I didn't use the red shade, the claret shade, and that's not because I don't like that color. It's just because I don't think that it went with the look that I was creating. And for me, that's okay because I like these reds. I actually think that these bright shimmering reds are one of the things that Natasha Denona does really well compared to other brands. So I love that she included a red, because if you look in the Mini Love, we don't really get anything like that. She needed to give us something that definitely was very different. And what's good about this mini palette is that compared to a lot of other ones, some of her other mini palettes, I feel like I just do the same look all the time. Whereas with this, I can think of two distinct looks that I would either gravitate towards. I would do a red look on this side of the palette, or I would do a pink look on this side of the palette like I did today. So that's why I like this palette. I think that it performed very, very nicely. And for me, I really look to the shimmers to be why I like a palette. And I really like these two particular shimmers. So for me, I really like this palette. I think it's super cute. I think that it makes a fantastic little gift for your Valentine. I like this packaging. For me, I don't need the brush, but like this particular palette isn't really marketed to like makeup lunatics like myself that like has so many palettes, and like I don't need a little gift box like this. But for the average consumer, like that's who she's marketing this to. She's marketing this as a fun little Valentine's treat for yourself or for your friend or a family member, and I really think that she did achieve that. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, okay, if I already have the Mini Love, do I need the Mini Crush? Well, my response to that is, like, do you want more colors? Because these palettes to me are totally different. Like I would get very different looks with each of these. This one has very, very bubbly pink shimmer and a deep red shimmer. And this one has more of like mid-tones. And I'll be frank with you guys, I like the mattes better in the Mini Crush than I do in the Mini Love. Like I just don't reach for these kinds of purples as much. I like that the Mini Crush is a little bit more pink toned. So honestly, I think that I like this new one a little bit better than the Mini Love. So that's just my personal opinion. I think you need to ask yourself which of the shimmers in these palettes is going to work the best for you. What are you going to gravitate towards? And then go off of that, because the mattes are just kind of like the supporting parts in this show. Do you know what I mean? And then of course, as I expressed before, if you have the Midi Love, do you need this? No, you don't need any of this, okay? We already talked about this. This is a Valentine's Day treat, okay? This is not something that you need. It's not something you need unless you're somebody watching this particular video and you're thinking, oh, I don't really have like any pink eyeshadow, but like every eyeshadow palette that's been launched in the past year or two has been very, very pink tone, or a lot of them have. It's a very big trend. And so I think that this is a great little companion palette to the Love palette. If we were to talk about all the palettes that I talked about in this video, which one do I like the most? Hands down, it's the Midi Love, okay? This is such an awesome palette. And, you know, it's $60, so maybe I don't think everybody is going for this because it is a little bit more poppy, it's a little bit more bright. And with that, I think going with this mini palette is a really great affordable option if you don't want to take up too much space in your makeup drawer, your makeup bag. Then I really like the Mini Crush for that. And my other opinion still stands. I actually think that the Mini Crush is a better companion to the retro palette. I think a lot more people probably have the retro palette at this point compared to the Love palette. This is a more popular palette, and so I do just want to bring that up. I think that this is a really good companion because you get a little bit more variety and you get a little bit more like interesting metallics that you can pair with this palette. So I think both of these little Mini Love and Mini Crush palettes go really well if you're somebody that really enjoys the retro. So I just want to put that out there. Like if you have the retro, I actually think like you might want to consider getting one of these Mini Love Mini Crush palettes. Anyway, guys, I hope that that review was helpful for you, or if you weren't going to get this anyway, maybe it was enjoyable for you to watch and have me break everything down for you guys. Please comment down below and let me know, was this like a complete pass for you? Is this something that you're going to get? Did you treat yourself to this Valentine's Day? I put up a poll on my Instagram stories and you guys were like very, very polarized. Like some people were like, I love that. And other people were like, ew, no, I don't need that. That's so boring. It looks the same as the other Natasha Denona palettes. So comment down below and let me know what you think. And also, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy it. It really helps me out with my relatively new YouTube channel. If you are new here, I upload content every single week here on all of the new luxury releases, and I do a lot of other fun videos like favorites, and I'm starting to get into skincare as well. So if that's something that you guys enjoy, definitely subscribe to my channel. I'd love to have you as a part of my community. I'm also gonna put up my Instagram handle here as well. You guys know I say this in every video, like we have a lot of fun over on my Instagram. I always do like little hauls of what I'm buying in my kitchen for you guys. I post sneak peeks of the videos and the reviews that I'm gonna be doing. I usually let you guys know about sales, things that come back in stock, first on my Instagram. Like that's where you get like all the breaking news on Sophia Sees Beauty is on my Instagram. So if you want to connect with me over there, or you're in the mood for a little bit more luxury beauty in your timeline, definitely follow me on Insta. Anyway, guys, I hope that you loved this video. I hope that you're having a wonderful day and you have a beautiful, wonderful, loving, blessed Valentine's Day. And I will see you in my next one. Goodbye.